All right, so this assignment number 8 in InDesign is how to create a table, right? So if you follow on page 316 or at the end of chapter 11 on Explore on Your Own in the textbook, it tells you that you can create a new document. It doesn't have to be any specific size. And then you follow that. So the idea is to copy paste this this following information into a table. So I'm just gonna copy that, and this, I'm in Acrobat Pro here instead of Preview. It's easier to select and copy text. So I'm just gonna copy that text, switch over to InDesign, and then create a new document. I'm gonna make it 8.5 by 11. Sure, it doesn't really matter, right? So right now there's 3 columns. I don't have to have 3 columns. I'm just gonna create that. Simple document, quick and easy. At this point, you create a text frame, right? So you select your type tool, you create a text frame right in there. And there's 2 ways. You can create a table from scratch, or you can create it from the text that you just copied. So I'm just going to paste the text in there, and you can see the text is, if I show my invisible characters, or the hidden characters I should say, there's a space in between each of those items. So since we want to have 1 column for the first name, 1 column for the last name, street address, city, province, and postal code, what I need to do here, if I select the whole thing here, and I go into table in my menu, and I go convert text to table, I need to have a row separator, meaning in between the items that I want to create columns. And right now my row separator is paragraph, or the column separator would be a tab. So I don't have any tab right now. I only have spaces. So the row separator would be a paragraph, meaning I would have a 5 row here, because at the end of the paragraph is that character at the end of the line, meaning it's basically it's a return. And then the column separator is a tab. That's what I'm talking about. Is right now we have only spaces in between. So what I want is I want to have tabs in between all of those columns. So I go cancel that, because if I click OK on that, I'm going to have only rows. I won't have any columns, right? So I'm going to undo that. And I want to go in here, and I want to select that little space in between, and I want to hit the tab key on the keyboard, right? So first name, tab, and this is my little character right there. That's a tab. Last name, street address, city, province, and postal code. And I have to do the same thing here. So first name, there you go, Julius. I cannot pronounce that name. Street address is 5 Savard Lane. City is Montréal. PQ is the province. And we could do the same thing here. So we kind of have to replace some of those characters first, right? Another trick as well, if you want to replace some of those characters quickly, is you go under Find and Change right here under Edit, Find and Change, or Command F or Alt F on the PC. And then you go Find What. So I'm going to put a space, right? And then change to what. And I can go and find, find tab. Right there. That's the equivalent of a tab character in the Find and Change. And I go throughout my document, which is only one page, but you can search within the story, which is just that text frame, or all documents if you have multiple open. And you go find next. So here it's finding my next space, which is I want to replace that. So I go change and find, change and find. This one I want to ignore because it's the postal code. So I go find next, change and find, change and find next, and so on. Done. Now that I have tabs in between, these will be my column separators. So again, I select all the text, I go into my table up here, convert text to table, and I have a column separator, which is my tab, which is what I wanted. Row separator is a paragraph, which is what I want. and then basic style, because we don't have any style set right now. Click OK, and there's my table. At this point, the assignment is asking you to basically kind of make it look like this, right? Shade, colorize the header row, etc. So we can push it a little further. We can create a paragraph style for this. I'm moving this window out of the way. My paragraph styles right here. This is really in the way. I'm going to push it out of the way completely. So let's say, for example, I want to select that style of text. I want to make it, I don't know, Helvetica. Wait a minute. Don't clear all. No filter. Helvetica bold. And I want to make it 12 point. Sure. 10 point. Create a new style. Apply it. Call it header. And then that text will be, you know what, we're just going to make 10 point Minion Pro. Sure, I'm going to keep it like this, right? Create a new style, apply it, and then call it text. Now I can just select the whole row. So by moving my cursor just outside of the table here, you can see the arrow switching over, and that selects a row. Here it'll select the column. And then at the corner right here, it'll select the whole table. So if I select the whole table, I can just apply the text right here. I can go there, my text is there. And I can just, after that, I can just select just the row, just for the header. And then there it's done. At this point, you can always change that stuff as well. You can just, double click in your paragraph style, and then you change everything that is within your, that is applied to your header. So within this menu right here, you have all the options, right? So you can go, you know what, bold right here, perfect, indent and spacing. So instead of alignment to the left, I want to go center, right? And I want to make it, I don't know, blue, for example. So this is up to you, really. It's not necessary. But now we're going to work in the table. So here, you can select the whole row. And within your control bar right up here, you have the cell controls right here, right? So right now, there's only a frame around it, like basically around the whole table. By default, there's always a 1 point frame around. So first, we're going to add a fill to this, right? So this is the first row that we want. I want to add a fill, and I want to make it, well, for example, a blue like this, and I'm going to make it a tint of, let's say, 15%. Select that. There it is. I'm going to hide my my hidden character so we can see it better. So another cool trick with tables. Tables are one little side note. Tables are kind of strange because tables will live within your text frame on a line of text, basically. So it's treated almost as a line of text. So if you use your type tool and you click within your text frame, see if I double click on it, this is my table being selected. I'm not in the table, but this is where the table sits on the line. And so if I push my cursor to the end of the line, it's blinking on the right hand side right here. I can add more text to it, right? More text here. But if I go to the beginning of the line right here and in front of it, I can hit some returns, and then the table will move within the text frame, right? So I can have a table. There you go. I can select it like this, right? Basically select the table. So you can just go, select it like this. You can cut it, right? And then put it below here, right? So it lives on the line of text within the text frame. So it's a kind of like almost like an anchored object, basically. That's just a quick little side note. To change I'm going to hide actually. I'm going to go into preview mode. To preview mode is make sure that you don't have anything selected, you just hit your W key on your keyboard and it switches over to your preview, right? So here I see all the guides, my text frames, etc. And you can see that there's a little blue line in my frame right here. So I want to go into preview mode so I don't see that. The cool thing about tables is this: you can customize also the thickness of the lines all around. So here, this is the outer frame, right? And the column separator are selected right here. And I'm getting the beach ball going on. I don't know why. There it is. So all you have to do is you select whatever you want. So you select also the row separators, and then you can change the thickness of it right there. Oh, why am I getting the beach ball today? Okay, there it is. See, and now it's thinner, right? So you can select one row at a time, one column at a time, right? By using the arrows, I select one column, one frame at a time. Here, I can select the whole column. So here, this is going to be the frame and the row separator for the first row in the table only, right? So if I want to have, for example, a thicker line below all of that, for example, just as a visual separator, I make sure I deselect everything here so I can go one by one, click on those, deselect them, and then I can increase the thickness of that line, just like that. I can go with the whole table right here. If I double click on the frame of that stuff, that line separator, if I double click on it, it selects it all. Double click on it again, deselect it all. So that's a quick way to get to it. So for example, I don't want to have a frame all the way around. I just go back to 0 right here. Now I don't have a frame. I just have a table that is kind of floating here. Right? So this is how to modify tables very quickly. Another quick trick as well is here you have in your controls up here, you have basically like a buffer within your cell. So right now by default it's like 0.0556 inches. So it's probably measured in picas. I'm thinking it's like 2, maybe 3 picas. I don't know. I'm in inches. I want to make sure that this is, personally, I prefer it down to 0. So I make sure that it's linked. I bring it down to 0, and then what happened to my table is completely collapsed. All it is the height of the cell is at least 0.0417 inches, which is like, I don't know what that is. Again, a measurement in pica probably transferred into inches. So I want to use those little arrows right here, and then I want to increase that. And as I increase that, I modify my height of each of the cells, right? I can also change the width of the cells. By default, it's 1.25 because I made the text frame fit within my margin. So here I can change my whole table. Or you know what? Just that one row right here and make it wider, right? So you have the ability to change all that, right? I'm going to double click on that text paragraph style, and I'm going to center it as well. Again, left center right there. Okay. So now the thing is, see the text kind of sits by default always at the top of my cell. And all I want to do is I want to select, for example, this row right here. And this is not part of your paragraph style, but you can do a table style for this. Is you select the row right here, and then this is your control right here of where the text sits. So right now it's at the top. You can put it at the center, or you can put it at the bottom of your cell. So I'm just going to keep it at the center, and I'm going to do the same thing here for everything right there. Now it's time to take shape, right? What you can do as well is you can rotate the text. Right, rotate the text 90 degrees. So now I need to make that cell a whole lot taller to address that. The assignment is asking you to do that at one point, but it's also asking you to add the phone number column right there. So I copy that information quickly. If I can, it's not letting me right now. Okay, work with me here. There you go. Copy that. And I want to add a cell on the column, sorry, at the end of the table here, right? So a newly created column. So I'm going to go into my table right here. Come on, right there. Select that. And I go table, and I go insert. Come on, right there. Insert column right here. On the left or the right of that margin, so I want to put it on the right, of course, and only one column, right? So you can add as many as you need, but I would just want to have just one of them on the right-hand side. And there I created a new column right here. So it looks like it's wider because there's no line separator in between. And then now that I have this information, I can just go select that, basically that table right here. Oh, you know what? I want to make sure that I have my text first. So remember, I copied the text quickly. I paste my text in there. Okay, so I do have, that's what I want to do. I do have my returns in between, so that's my row separators. This is all text, so I want to make sure that this is my header right there. And I can just go select all that, copy that, select my column right here, and just hit paste. And it just goes right in my column right here. So again, that column is a little too short. So we're gonna do this. Come on, right there. Make it a little taller. There you go. And then I want to make a separator in between the two, right? So what I can do is I can select both columns like this, click and drag over the whole thing, or I can just select just that my one column right here, and I'm going again into my separators window. I double click on the frame because I want to frame all around. I just want to frame just a line on the left-hand side. Select just that left-hand side one, add the 0.5, and voila, it's done. Right? So it's this is how to basically manage and work with tables in InDesign. What you can do as well within that as well, you can add. I'm going to add a row below. I'm using a shortcut. It's Command 9. I'm going to do one row below, and I'm going to make that much taller. Right? Oops, it's disappeared because my text frame is not as big as my table. There it is. So what you can do as well is you can merge cells, right? So for example, you can just go, select all those three, for example, and again in your control bar up here, you see that little icon that has a little X in between, and you says merge cells right there. So now it's one cell right here, right? So that allows you to create some funky little structure, kind of Piet Mondrian, if you know the artist. You will see what I mean. And what you can do as well, you can drop images in there as well. So if I place an image, for example, I'm just going to go and drag one. Let's see. Do I have an image somewhere? Yeah, the Photoshop tennis there. Oh, it's big. I'm going to grab the one from Danny. It's a JPEG. So there's a Photoshop tennis image, right? What I can do is I can, reduce it a little bit. I think you can just copy that and then paste it in there. And it's too big. It's too big. There it is. Yeah. So there's my image right there. So it becomes an anchored object. You see the little anchor up here. And then you can, try to fit it a little bit better. It's not exactly the easiest thing to do, but when you're for example, building a catalog, for example, of product or clothing or whatever, you can create big tables like this. You can place an image in there, and you would have all the information about the product itself, right? So you can have, as I said, images within cells. Oops, wrong one. Within cells to have your image and then the information beside it. So play with that, have some fun.